Japan is paying tribute to more than 18,000 people who lost their lives 5 years ago in a huge earthquake and tsunami, which also triggered the worst nuclear power disaster since Chernobyl. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe spoke on the eve of the 5th anniversary. There's no rebirth of Japan without the recovery of northern Japan. Under this unshaken belief, I'm renewing my determination to build a new northern Japan which is full of hope. The Fukushima nuclear power station suffered a triple meltdown as a result of the disaster, forcing 160,000 people to flee radiation. The amount of radioactive water found there has exceeded 700,000 tons in the 5 years since the catastrophe. Nationwide, over 174,000 people are still displaced as a result of events on March the 11th, 2011, including almost 100,000 from Fukushima. State prosecutors in Brazil are seeking the arrest of former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva less than a week after he was questioned by federal police as part of a separate probe into alleged bribery and money laundering. The requested detention also concerns charges of dirty money, as well as identity fraud over claims he concealed ownership of a beachfront apartment. Sao Paulo State Prosecutor Cássio Roberto Concerino gave this statement. It's a roundup of testimonies, a roundup of documents, and the only conclusion that corresponded was that that luxury apartment was destined for the ex-president of the Republic. Concerino is seeking to use the testimony of witnesses as proof that the former president profited from housing projects which were financed by a state bankers cooperative. Lula denies wrongdoing. His lawyer has called on the Supreme Court to decide whether or not the case comes under the jurisdiction of a federal investigation into state-run oil company Petrobras. That crisis is threatening to topple his successor and supporter, President Dilma Rousseff. The United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has expressed apprehension over an EU-Turkey brokered deal to return migrants from certain nations to Turkey. 90 so-called irregular migrants from Pakistan, Morocco, Algeria and Tunisia have been sent back to Turkey from Greece, Greek police say.
Among my concerns is the potential for collective and arbitrary expulsions, which are illegal. Border restrictions which do not permit determination of the circumstances of each individual violate international and European law.
Germany hopes the proposed deal will halt the influx of people entering Europe. This, however, is open to criticism with claims it contravenes human rights.
We have to go according to the EU and international law. In other words, first of all, no risk of persecution in this country. Second, respect of the non-refoulement. And third, possibility to request and receive refugee status according with Geneva Convention.
He insists at least 6,000 migrants per month need to be relocated from Greece to other EU member states. The scheme has so far successfully moved just 900 people. Opposition politicians in Kosovo have released tear gas in parliament in the 9th such protest since September. They also aimed a laser beam at one of the ministers and threw water at the Prime Minister before walking out. The opposition is demanding snap elections, angry about a European Union brokered accord the government signed with Serbia last August. Under the deal, Kosovo's ethnic Serb minority has greater local government powers and the possibility of financing from Belgrade. But the opposition's goal of interrupting the session appeared to have little effect. The first release of tear gas provoked a 10-minute pause, but the session continued as usual following the second attempt.
Authorities in Gaza say they have destroyed 15 tons of Snickers chocolate bars. Inspectors from the Economy Ministry looked on as thousands of them were tossed into a big hole before being set alight. The manufacturer, Mars, recalled chocolate bars from 55 countries last month after pieces of plastic were found in a product. This consumer protection officer says, "We destroyed Snickers and Mars chocolate after working with the product's importers and distributors. There was an order for them to be recalled from the market." Other brands on the recall list are Milky Way minis and miniatures, as well as Celebrations confectionery boxes. The countries involved include Germany, the UK, France, Belgium and Spain.